Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Today it's time for another KUAILIAN update on how my investment is going so far, because I have already been in for more than a year now. However, before I go and I start, I want to leave extremely clear that this video is just done to describe in a relatively objective way how the investment is going. I don't aim for you to register through me. I have not put anyone inside the platform and I'm not aiming to do so. This video will also not be a hate one, or at least I will try not to be, because as I said, I will mostly go through the numbers, which are something objective. It's how it has been, and then towards the end I will be adding some of the comments on what my thoughts are on being within KUAILIAN and all of that. But with that said, I don't want to spend more time on the introduction, and let's go right into it. In case you're new and this is the first video that you watch on KUAILIAN, I have already published 2 videos on the topic. One, I think I published it about a year ago, explaining how KUAILIAN works, which you don't even have to watch it because so many things have changed that it doesn't make much sense anymore. And the second one, I published it on November 22nd, 2020, so about 6 months ago, and I was basically giving an update on how the returns were going so far. And this is precisely what I'm aiming to do in this video. By the way, if you want to watch any of the other 2 videos, they will be down below in the description. And essentially, since it has already been more than 6 months since I last did an update, I feel like it's about time that for me to also do a new one on how these past 6 months have been going. To create first a bit of context, I initially purchased my KUAIs, or the same as saying that I initially invested within this platform on March 27, 2020, and at the moment of starting to prepare this video, it is May 13th, 2021, which means that a total of 412 days, or the same as saying 1 year, 1 month, and 16 days since I initially purchased them. But with this out of the way, let's go over all the numbers of the investment, of how it's going and everything. And as I already mentioned at the beginning, afterwards I will be also adding some comments to it. The first part of how many KUAIs I bought or how much my initial investment was and so on, I already covered it in the previous update video that I did, which, as I already mentioned, it's down below in the description. So in this video I will be going much more to the point because I don't want to spend unnecessary time talking about things that I already discussed. But essentially, my initial investment in this platform in KUAILIAN was of $650.95. But when you invest in the platform, you had to put it, at least back then, inside the platform in Ethereums. So I had to buy Ethereums and then put it in with Ethereums inside the platform. And when I initially purchased Ethereum, each one costed me $135 each, which was of course super cheap. And this essentially means that I initially put inside KUAILIAN, inside the platform, a total of 4.82 Ethereums. Now the next thing is, how much have I been paid during this whole period? Well, as you can see with the screenshots on the screen, although you cannot see it very well because I sent out some of the money that I received in this wallet outside of it, but essentially I received in total 1.2888 Ethereums, and also $17. And yes, now it's dollars because a lot of things, as I already mentioned, have changed. Initially, KUAILIAN was paying the dividends that they were paying daily in Ethereum. But if you are a bit inside the crypto world, you know that Ethereum has been gaining a lot of popularity. Its price right now is much higher. We will go into this in just a little while. But essentially also the gas fees have increased a lot. And the gas fees, in case you're not familiar, is essentially how much commission you pay for each transaction that you make. So if I want to now transfer my money from one place, from one wallet, or from one exchange to another, then this fee to transfer the Ethereum has increased a lot. And this, what was causing, was that KUAILIAN was sending the money to the customer, so for instance myself, and a lot of that money was lost in the process because the gas fees were so high. And in light of this, what KUAILIAN did about 6 months ago, I think it was, they created a separate wallet and they were paying it directly there to avoid having such high fees. This essentially, cutting the story short, it did not work, and now they changed to another system, and now they are using a Tron wallet, which uses another cryptocurrency, which is Tron. But in this case, they are not paying anymore with Ethereum, but they pay with USDT. All of this story of changing the system and so on, as you probably could already sense, was not very good, or has not been very good, and during the past 6 months I almost have not gotten paid by KUAILIAN. In fact, In the previous video update, I had already collected 1.1825 Ethereums, and now I have a total collected of 1.2888 Ethereums, which means that I have only gotten paid 0.1063 Ethereums within the past 6 months, while previously in the same time period I had already received 1.1825 Ethereums. And yes, we should also include here on top the $17 because now they are paying in USDT, as I said, but it does not make much of a difference. So for the whole calculations from now onwards, I will just be using this amount of Ethereum. Focusing now on the 1.288 Ethereums that I have collected so far, if we divide them by the initial total investment, which as we mentioned was of 4.822 Ethereums, this means that the total return so far has been of 26.73%. And this return has happened over a period, as we mentioned at the beginning, of 412 days. So if we divide that, we see that I am getting currently an average daily yield of 0.065%, which is down considerably from what I had when I did the previous update, in which I had an average daily yield of around 0.116%. If we analyze the previously mentioned yield, we have that KUAILIAN is paying in dividends approximately a 23.68% yearly, which is of course very good if you in the end are also able to recover the initial investment. And by the way, talking about the initial investment, I learned something that I'm not very happy about, and I will very openly say it, which is that basically KUAILIAN makes you put the money inside the platform in Ethereums, and you had to pay for each, let's say stock, each KUAI, $100 for each, but when you want to collect it back, they will pay it back to you in dollars. How convenient, right? After Ethereum price has increased by more than 2000%. Just saying, but again, this is something that I find completely unfair, because if they make you put the money inside the platform in cryptocurrency, in Ethereum, it would only make sense that they give you back in that same currency that you put it in. But yeah, just saying. Therefore, talking about this, I would now like to showcase the actual returns, but in US dollars instead of in Ethereum, which for some people maybe they don't really know how much each Ethereum is worth, or it's harder to basically picture in our minds. And before I start with that, I want to leave extremely clear that the returns in US dollars are not only influenced by what KUAILIAN has paid so far, but especially by the price of the Ethereum at this point in time, which is the conversion that I'm doing. And based on that, as I already mentioned at the beginning, I initially purchased my first Ethereums that I put in the platform at $135 each. And at the moment of preparing this video, each Ethereum is worth $3,677, and this essentially means that the price of the Ethereum has increased in 2,567.24%, which is absolutely crazy. If we now look at the value of the total that KUAILIAN has paid me in dividends of these 1.2888 Ethereums, they are currently worth $4,640.85. Which means that if we look at it from a dollar amount, I have already more than recovered my investment. In fact, I'm already up on my initial investment by 612.93%. And of course, looking at the dollar amount, we could say, wow, great investment, it's going great. But it would be fool to think that, because actually it has not been because KUAILIAN has paid me incredible returns, but this has been simply thanks to the fact that the Ethereum price has increased massively. Actually, at this point, I would like to calculate what is the opportunity cost of me having invested in KUAILIAN with these Ethereums instead of having kept them myself. And if we do that, we have that currently, if I had held on to these 4.82 Ethereums, they would now be worth $17,362.38 at the current Ethereum price. And instead, as we just mentioned, with what I collected with dividends, I currently have my total net worth with this investment is of $4,640.85. And yes, in theory, I will also recover these $600 that I put as initial investment, if in the end I recover it and so on, but still it doesn't make much of a difference, and it's clear just by looking at this that I would have been much better off if I had just bought those Ethereums and held them myself. On the other hand, if I am being completely honest, I most probably would have not bought so many Ethereums if it hadn't been for KUAILIAN, because I already held some Ethereums from the past and I was not planning on adding more at that point in time. So as I said, that's something also to keep in mind. Anyways, looking into the future, KUAILIAN has changed recently some of its conditions of the programs that they have and so on, and essentially now you don't have to hold this money there blocked for 1000 days, but you can, I think, withdraw it after 6 months, which in my case I think that in 4 months I will be able to take it out. And will I exit? Well, I mean, if I exit, it will not be because I'm afraid of losing my investment or something, because I was already ready to lose it all, so this is not something that worries me. I was completely aware of what I was getting into, but it is mostly for convenient things, because during the past months so many things have changed that I have had to always keep an eye on what's going on, what has been changing, which app do I need to download to make sure that I get paid. And this, for somebody like me, that I just put the money there and I was expecting to simply continuously get paid every day or every week or whenever without doing anything, this has been a lot more work than I anticipated. And also for the returns that I'm getting, it's currently not worth my time if they keep doing lots of changes. As we will have to see how this goes, but as I said, if they keep doing so many changes, I will probably exit, simply because it will be more convenient, and then I can put the time that I was devoting into learning how these different tools work into stocks, or just simply researching more other cryptocurrencies or investing in other things. With that said though, I will leave it for today, and don't worry, because I will keep you updated if in the end I end up exiting and recovering my initial investment, or if I just continue and I just keep you posted on how these returns are going. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed the transparency in this video. If you enjoyed it, then I would appreciate it if you could give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed, and as always, see you next time.